Hi there. Hello, hello. I am so happy that you are here. I'm Theresa. I guide women in discovering what they're meant to do and empower them to find a fulfilling career. I'm tuning in here live from Hawaii. Very lucky to be calling this beautiful place my home. And I'd absolutely love to hear from you. If you're here listening in live, please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from, because I really want to get to know all of you and hear and see who is here. And I'm like super excited that you are here today, because we're going to talk about a topic today that can be a total game changer in your career. And that is mastering LinkedIn networking and unlocking career opportunities. So I chose this topic today because I know there's so many of you who want to find a career that makes you excited to wake up on Monday mornings, that aligns with your purpose, that you find rewarding, and that allows you to make a positive impact in the world. But let's be honest, nobody has ever truly shown you how to successfully land a job through networking, right? And that's exactly what we're going to change today. So if anyone has tuned in the meantime, please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd be super excited to see everyone who is here and listening in live. So to start off on this topic of networking, I want to take you back 5 years in my career. Hey, Amy, great to see you. Thanks for being here. So as I said, I want to start by going a little bit back in my own story. 5 years ago, the thought of networking was really scary to me. I'm somewhat of an introvert and I hated networking. Like, I had to go to networking events for work and I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Like handing out business cards, and then what am I supposed to say? It just felt really fake and transactional and really awkward. And when it came to a job search, I really didn't want to go around and beg anyone for a job. That just seemed like pushy, and no, not for me. So the result of my approach to networking was that I was stuck in a job that made me quite miserable, uninspired, meaningless, and pretty exhausted. And I remained stuck there till something changed. Actually, two things changed. The first one was that I got clear on what I really wanted to do. So I got crystal clear what my career should look like. And the second thing that changed my career forever was my perspective on networking. Once I realized that networking isn't about being transactional or asking someone for a job, but that it really is about forming mutually beneficial relationships, so much changed in my career. And I learned that it's really fun to build genuine human connections and build professional friendships and support each other in our journeys. And once I embraced that new approach to networking, it really went from something I hated to something that I loved. Like, now I love being on LinkedIn and connecting with people and meeting new people. It's amazing. I get to meet some of the most inspiring and smart and successful and funny people, and it really doesn't get any better than that. I met some of my best friends on LinkedIn. Honestly, some of the fellow coaches and clients of mine that I met through LinkedIn, they mean the world to me. And I'm so thankful that there is a platform out there that brought us together. So here's my question for you. Where are you when it comes to networking? Are you more like me 5 years ago, where you find it like, oh, it's kind of awkward and I don't know what to say? If that is you, drop a 1 in the chat. Or are you way ahead of where I was and already like totally embraced it and are loving to network and forming a relationship? If that's you, drop a 2 in the chat. And if you're somewhere in between, you can also put in I don't know, a 1.2 or 1.5. But a 1 if you are how I was 5 years ago and you really were uncomfortable with networking, and a 2 if you totally embrace networking and it's your favorite part of the day. Let me know in the chat so I kind of know that we have a starting point of where everyone is at as we dive into the meat of today's topic. And the topic for today is, or the goal for today is truly to give you actionable advice that will help you with your networking on LinkedIn, because I really want you to know how to network so that you can turn that into growing your career. Hey, May, I see a one in here. Thanks so much for being honest and sharing. And I totally get that. No one ever teaches us how to network. So I really appreciate the honesty and say, like, yeah, it's something, if no one teaches you, how we're supposed to expect to know. And I love that you're here, because this is exactly the topic. Oh my God, Johan. I mean, I think you're more like a 2.5. Johan says he's a 1.7, but Johan is like way past a 2. He is like, I mean, he is amazing at networking. Thanks so much for being here, for everyone. 1.5, but not my favorite thing. Yeah, I was there too, where I was like, oh, it's kind of like, I'll do it, but only if I have to. So let's get to the actionable advice. How do we make the most out of networking? The first thing you got to do is start with getting clear about where you want to go. And I'm a career clarity coach, so I know it's something that I really believe we can't get around, because there are 830 million LinkedIn users. 830 million LinkedIn users. So if you don't know what you want to do, how do you pick the people who you want to network with? Like, you can't, it's impossible to network with 830 million people. It just doesn't work, right? Like, I mean, you could spend the rest of your life networking and still haven't met everyone. And we can't be random about it. And I totally love Social Saturday, so this is nothing against Social Saturday, but for example, on Social Saturdays, people make a ton of connections. And I can easily make 100 new connections on Social Saturday. But if it isn't the people that can help me get to where I want to go, that's almost pointless. And instead, I'd rather have you start with getting clear about where you want to go, and then make your connections intentionally instead of randomly. So right now, I would love for you to drop in the chat. Do you have an idea of what it is that you're looking for? Have you gone through the process of figuring out what is one thing that you want in a career, or what is one company you'd love to get in touch with? If you have, let me know in the chat. I'd love to see it. But it's also totally okay if you have not. And then put us right in the chat that you're still figuring out. Let me know where you are in that process of clarity, because at the end of this live, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the clarity process if we have people on the call that need a little bit more help with on how to be really clear before they get into the networking. So where are you at? Are you clear where you want to go in your career? Do you have your clear goals? Or are you in the process of still figuring this out? If you know where you're going, let me know in the chat what companies you're pursuing, what type of roles you're aiming at, or put a still figuring it out in the chat. Oh, love that, Lauren. And honestly, like, these LinkedIn Lives are an amazing resource for networking. So Lauren here is looking for data analysts at a good company. If you guys know anyone hiring for data analysts, make sure to let Lauren know. Fumbling around, totally get that. We're all there. That's the majority of people. We have Paula here, program manager with a stable company. So if any of you know someone, a company who's right now looking for a program manager, I want you to get them in touch with Paula. Same here for Tasha. She's looking for a project management role. And May is looking for a marketing role. And Johan says, I would like to work for any good company hiring career coaches in Maui, Hawaii. Well, I live on Oahu, Johan, but you definitely be the first one who I would let know if I'm hiring. Still in progress. I love that, and I know you're working really hard to gain that clarity. So loved hearing from all of you where you're at. And I was just saying, use these LinkedIn Lives for networking. I was hosting a LinkedIn Live, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and someone shared in the chat that they would love to work for Universal, and that turned into an informational interview with someone working at that company. So don't underestimate the power of the connections here from people that are live on LinkedIn. So now let's assume, and again, I'm going to go back to the clarity piece at the end of this call, but let's assume you know where you want to go. You know what your ideal position looks like, and you know what companies you would ideally want to work for. Once you have these two pieces figured out, you have to create a compelling LinkedIn profile. Recruiters and hiring managers are busy, and you know that recruiters only look at your resume for a couple of seconds. It's the same as your LinkedIn profile. When someone lands on your LinkedIn profile, within seconds, I want them to see what you're all about. I want them to see, like, okay, let's take an example. You want to become an onboarding manager to manage onboarding programs for new employees. Within seconds of someone landing on your profile, I want them to be crystal clear, like, okay, let's say your name. It's me, Theresa. She is all about onboarding. On the banner, she is clear that she is getting companies' results quickly by getting employees up to speed in no time. The headline speaks the same, and the about section speaks to the same. It all positions me as an ideal candidate for the role I'm looking for. So, and I could obviously turn the LinkedIn profile into a whole LinkedIn life itself. And if you are interested in that topic, let me know, and I will plan for the future on how to really make your profile stand out to hiring managers and recruiter so that they look at it for seconds and totally see, like, yes, she is the candidate that we want to hire. So before we go into networking, I really want your profile to be at a level where you feel like if someone who is hiring for the role I want is landing on it, I'm standing out as a good candidate to them. Okay, let's say we have that second part completed. We now have clarity about where you want to go, and we have your personal branding completed. Your LinkedIn profile is on point. And there's a question I have for you. When it comes to LinkedIn profiles, a lot of people's LinkedIn profiles are targeted towards the role they're currently in. And they are not targeted towards the positions or the jobs they want in the future. So I want all of you to take a second and think about your LinkedIn profile. And if you're tuning in from another platform, from YouTube or Facebook and Instagram, maybe you don't even have a LinkedIn profile. And that's a perfectly okay starting point. You're here, you're taking the first step, and I'm super proud of you for doing that. So type in the chat, where are you at? Maybe you don't have a LinkedIn profile. Or is your LinkedIn profile targeted towards your current role? Then type in the chat current role. Or is your LinkedIn profile targeted towards the work you would want to ideally do in the future? Then type future work in the chat. And I'd love to see what comes up in the chat here. Great question coming in here from Kelly. Does it not limit the number of roles that recruiters may be able to see as per only one headliner? Great question. So, we don't want to limit it to one role only. So I would not put in there that I want to be a learning and development specialist only. And that's the only thing I have in my title. Or let's go back to the onboarding. Let's say I want to be an onboarding manager. I don't want to put only that in my title, but I can make it a little bit broader and say I'm looking for leadership positions within the learning, development, and onboarding space. Or I am looking for leadership positions, a different example. I'm looking for leadership positions at a company focused on sustainability. So I want it narrow enough so that people landing on my profile immediately understand where I'm going and what I'm looking to do. But I don't want to narrow it too much where they say, like, oh, I have a training and facilitation role available, but she's only focused on onboarding manager. I wouldn't talk to her. So narrow enough so we know what you stand for and who you are, but not too narrow where it limits you to just one role. Love seeing the different examples here. So Paula says it's targeted toward the future. Amazing. I love that. Amy, current role. I think that is the vast majority. When I look at LinkedIn profiles, and I do that a lot in my work, most profiles are targeted towards current roles. So that's something we see a lot. And, oh, sorry, current and future. Okay, that's awesome too, both. Julie, future, I know you've been working on it. It looks amazing. Totally target to the future. Tasha, oh my God, you guys are amazing. Perfect. We have so many profiles targeted towards what you really want to do. I love that. And now let's dive into the networking. So now we have a really good profile. You know where you're going. Now, how do we get the people we want to go to your profile? Look at your profile. Because we can have the best profile in the world. If no one's looking at it, it doesn't get us anywhere, right? So the best way for people to land on your profile is through commenting, strategically commenting. Commenting is really where LinkedIn comes to life. That has to be really an integral part of your job search. And commenting as in more than saying, oh, nice post on random posts, but very strategically adding comments to posts at companies you want to work for. And I'm going to share my screen so I can show you exactly how to do that. So let me actually do my screen share here. Screen, there we go. All right, you should be able to see my screen here. So this is LinkedIn. And the first thing when we want to go to start a search on LinkedIn, and as always, if questions come up, please drop them in the comments. I always love to see questions come in. And if I'm going too fast or I haven't explained something in detail enough, just let me know. So to start a search on LinkedIn, we click into the search bar and press enter without typing anything. That gets us to the full search functionality. Now we're looking for posts that we want to comment on. So the first thing here is I'm going to click on posts. And then, oh, my post from today comes up here, LinkedIn networking. Now I can go to date posted. Now, if I do this on a daily basis, I want to pick the past 24 hours to see just new posts from the last 24 hours. If I want to broaden my search a little bit, I can go to past week as well. I'm going to go to past 24 hours, show results. And now comes the most important part. We're going to go to all filters and we're going to scroll down till we find author company. This is an amazing feature LinkedIn gives us. So what can we type in here? We can type in our top target companies. The clients who work with me, they all make a list of their top 12 employers. And if you have, as I know, some of you already know exactly where they want to work at, you put in your target employers here. To save some time, I've done exactly that. And let me pull this up here in my where did I put this? There we go. So I put in 12 companies that I picked that, let's say in this example, I want to work at. So these are my 12 ideal companies, show results. So now what I'm getting here on LinkedIn, I'm going to center this a little bit more so it's visible on Instagram as well. There we go. So now I am getting an output from from all employees who work at my ideal target employers and who wrote a post in the last 24 hours. And that are the posts I want you to comment on every day. These are the people who work where you want to work. So those are the people you really get to know. And the best way to start those relationships is in the comments. And I guarantee you it will make a huge difference in your profile views. So now how do we comment successfully on these posts? Again, to save some time, I pre-worked this a little bit. So let's say my ideal company that I want to work for is Spotify. I ran the search. Spotify is within my top 12 companies. And 10 hours ago, Jessica, who is the global enterprise marketing at Spotify, shared this post. Paula, great question. How to get to the author company section? One more time. Let's do this together one more time. So we're going to click into, when we're on the home page of LinkedIn, click into the search bar and press enter. You get to the full LinkedIn search function. Then you check posts and you state posted past 24 hours. And then you go to all filters, scroll down, author industry. Author company. Author company is what we want to get at. Here is where I want you to add all your target companies in. And then once you have all your target companies in there, bookmark that page and you will never have to enter them all in again. And every day you can just refresh and it makes it super easy. Great question. So going back to the post. So I want to work for Spotify. So I find that Jessica wrote this post 10 hours ago and I'm like, this is a post I want to comment on. Now, how do we comment on a post successfully? We don't want to just say, oh, sounds great, Jessica, or it just sounds great, because that doesn't add much value to it. We want people to look at our comments and then check out our profiles. So here is a framework that I often share with my clients for how to comment. First, we'll say it's a great post. Hey, love this post. Then I'll pull out a line or phrase that really resonated with me, directly out of what they wrote. And then I think of something that comes to mind when I read this phrase or line or the whole post that they wrote. And then I say thank you and tag them in it. So how can this sound in this post? So this post is about a Spotify original, The Perfect Pitch, which I think is actually really cool. So in this comment I wrote, this is an incredibly exciting post, Jessica. I tag the author, so because I want to make sure that she reads my comment. This sentence especially resonated with me. If you have ever written a brief, delivered a pitch, or simply had the spark of an idea, the perfect pitch is for you. I thought that was a really cool way to introduce this pitch, the perfect pitch. And then what I added is, it reminds me of the quote by Albert Einstein, creativity is intelligence having fun. And that's exactly what you're doing, making creativity a playful, fun competition. That is the thing that came to my mind when I read through the post. And then at the end, I said, can't wait to hear the innovative ideas that teams will be pitching. Thanks for sharing this engaging initiative with us. I would take out the spaces and then hit post. And now I wrote one comment on a post that is by someone who works at Spotify. This post right now has 91 likes. So that means this post is seen by a lot of people, a ton of people. And I guarantee you a lot of people that work at Spotify. There's only 13 comments. So that really makes my comments stand out because there's not a lot of comments here. Thank you, Johan. That is so sweet. You're the queen of commenting. Your comments are always value added on point. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So obviously, we need to do this every day. You don't have to spend hours and hours on LinkedIn, but Monday through Friday, can you spend 20 minutes on LinkedIn every day and write 3 comments that are posted by people at your target company? Is that something that is realistic for you? If yes, set a time for yourself. Maybe after work, like maybe from 6 to 6:20 p.m. every day, you log into LinkedIn, you bookmark that page, and you load it, and you add 3 value add comments. It will make a huge difference for how many people land on your profile. Now you're suddenly building conversations, starting conversations and building relationships with the people inside your target companies. So in this case, I would look over the next week or two to really comment on 2 or 3 more posts by Jessica. At that point, she's gonna know who I am. She's like, oh, cool, Theresa, like really appreciate her. She really always comments on my post. Because Jessica put in a lot of work to write this post. It's really an effort and work to write these posts. So having someone comment on it is really meaningful for the author. Trust me, it means so much. I spend a lot of time writing LinkedIn posts, and every comment means so much to me. So I guarantee you, Jessica is gonna notice when you comment a couple of times. So you do that 2, 3, maybe 4 times. And then you can take it into a DM. Then you can send Jessica a personal or a connection request, add a personalized invitation to. So when we go to Jessica's profile, I would go to more. Send profile, connect, and then add a note. And then I would send a note to Jessica and tap into something that I read in her post and say like, hey, Jessica, I just commented on your post about the Pitch Perfect competition by Spotify. I thought that was such a cool idea. I'd love to learn more about what it is like to work at Spotify, and send the connection request. You are now so much more likely to get that connection request accepted and have Jessica respond back to you because she's seen that you're interested. You already showed that you're interested. You already invested time by commenting on her post. She'll want to talk to you. Then you take this conversation that starts right here in the connection request into an actual conversations in the DM. And the next step will be an informational interview. And that's really where the magic happens. That is where people land jobs. It is when they talk to people who do the work they'd love to do, and talk to people who work at their ideal companies, at their target employers. That is where you will land opportunities. Julie came in here with a great question. What do you do with companies that are not active or have active employees posting? Great question. Of course, not every company is active on LinkedIn. So if you're looking at a really, really small company that does not have any activity on LinkedIn, I'm going to be honest with you, the strategy is not going to work. What I would do then is I would use LinkedIn to research who works there, use an email finder like Scrap. There's one that's called scrap.io to look up their email addresses and then directly email them and contact them through email and build a relationship this way. But any mid-sized to large company has a handful of employees that are active on LinkedIn. So that these small companies that don't have that are more the exception. Not every company will write company posts, but almost like any larger company will have at least a handful of people who are active on LinkedIn, and they are going to be your next best friends. They're going to be your professional best buddies, and you're going to start a relationship with them that will open so many opportunities for you. If there are any other questions, please drop them in the chat. And I also want you all, everyone who's listening in, I want you to set yourself a goal. And I want you to start this week. How many posts will you comment on this week? This is a goal that I want you to set for yourself. But we hold ourselves much more accountable to our goals when we share it with others. So now I want everyone to drop in the chat a number of how many posts you will comment on this week. How many comments are you going to write? Today is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the next 3 days. How many comments will you write? I'm not looking for the highest number. No one's going to win an award for typing in 500 comments. That is not realistic. But can you write 5 comments this week? Or maybe you've never done it and you just want to start with 1. That's perfectly fine. Or you want to push yourself a little. Can you do 10? How many posts will you comment on this week? Oh, great idea, Johan. Surely you could also explore if they're active on other platforms such as Instagram or Facebook. That I'm so glad you said that, Johan. That is a great idea. LinkedIn is not the only platform by any means. There are companies that are really active on Instagram, on Facebook, even on TikTok. So if you don't find them on LinkedIn, definitely look elsewhere. Oh, that's so cool. Lauren says she can do 9. Paula will do 5. I love that. Amy is going to do write 6 comments. Kelly has a question. The filter doesn't have a location as I'm getting people far away and not in my area. That is a great point. Let me pull up Lauren's comment before I get to that. So Lauren is 3 posts for 3 days. So obviously, to answer this question from Kelly, we're crystal clear on what companies we want to work for. Now, I'm going to go back to here, to my screen share here. Yeah. So in my screen share, oh no, okay. Let me pull this back up. So right here, I added these 12 companies. I chose these 12 companies because they're all fully remote. So if I'm looking to work for one of those companies because I'm looking for remote work, I don't care where these employees are located. I might be more drawn to other employees who work in the US because I might have more in common with them. Or if I live in Canada, I might be more drawn to connect with people in Canada. But the first step is to just start connecting with someone. Even if they're not where you live, it's about starting that relationship. And I'm not saying that the first person, so when I connected with Jessica, she's probably not going to be the one who is hiring me if I want to get into Spotify. But if I start building a friendship with Jessica and I have a couple of conversations with her and I add value by commenting on her posts and then set up a call with her and we get along and I get to learn more about Spotify, then I can share and say, hey, I'm really, my background is in HR. I've been an HR generalist for the last 10 years. Do you know someone in the HR department that I could talk to so I can learn more about the roles and how the HR department is being run at Spotify? Jessica likely knows someone. Now she can introduce me to the person that I really want to talk to. We don't always have to start with a possible hiring manager. Starting somewhere is a great start, wherever that is. And then you build your connections from there to get closer to where you want to go. Now, obviously, and so the location really comes in by with who your companies are. So when you make your ideal target list for companies, if you pick 12 companies that you really want to work for, you're obviously going to pick companies that are hiring in your area. So that is part of the clarity piece. And then if you know there's a company that's hiring in your area, then even if you reach out to someone or build a connection with someone who is not in your area, chances are they're going to know someone or can at least point you to someone who knows. So that is the approach that I take here. And I love, this is perfect, Lauren. 3 posts for 3 days, 9. Yay, I'm so excited to see that. Julie says she's going to write 6 comments. You guys are amazing. Oh my God, I feel so inspired that you're like actually taking action. This is fantastic. So, as I said in the beginning, networking really relies on the 2 most important factors. First of all, clarity. Oh, yeah, no, great question. Before we dive into this, Paula, does your area matter if you're applying remote? Most of the time it doesn't. There are the companies that I picked for my list, they're fully remote employers and it doesn't matter where you are. Obviously, there are certain companies who are hiring remote, but because of logistical, maybe you have to attend meetings or there's some other rules about having to be in a certain state. So that again comes in the company research. But if you know you want to be fully remote and want to work from anywhere, you would target companies that allow that work environment. Great questions. Okay, back to the beginning. So when we started talking about networking, I shared with you that there's two important pieces. First of all, who do you want to network with? Who works at your target companies? You got to be clear about what companies you want to work for so that you can build those relationships with them. Unless you have that clarity, there's no point to networking. You'll aimlessly connect with people who aren't going to get you to your goal. And then you have to also be really clear about what you want to do. Because once you build those relationships, you have to be able to communicate what it is that you're looking for. They're going to ask you, and you have to give them a crystal clear answer of what it is that you want to do next in your career and why you're the ideal candidate for it. And when they land on your LinkedIn profile, that needs to communicate the same thing. So you gotta start with that clarity piece. And only when you can be very clear about where you want to go, will others be able to help you get there. And that's the heart of networking. I know that this piece of clarity is one that a lot of people have a really hard time with. And I was struggling with that for many, many years. And that's exactly why I developed my coaching program, the Career Clarity Formula. It is the only coaching program that I know that really dives into the career clarity, gets you to the point to knowing what your target positions need to be and what your target employers need to be. So it aligns with exactly what you want to do. And then walks you through the steps to land your job in 12 weeks. So if you are right now feeling stuck or miserable in your job, and you wish you could find a career that gets you excited to go to work every day. Or if you are, and that is, I think, a lot of us, randomly trying to find your thing by browsing job boards or job hopping, and you just don't want to spend all your time on job boards anymore, but you finally want to know what you're meant to do. Or if your job is kind of blah and you're feeling uninspired and unmotivated by meaningless work, and you finally want to find work that is purposeful or rewarding or contributes to the world in a positive way. Or if you want to stop wasting time looking for jobs and instead have a really clear and strategic plan that gets you real results in just a couple of hours a week, then I have good news for you. Because my program, the Career Clarity Formula, it's starting in 2 days. And I was planning to only start one cohort, but it filled so quickly that I decided to split it in 2 cohorts, and that opened 2 extra spots up. So if any of you are interested in joining my program, it is a 12-week coaching program where you get career clarity plus job search plus you'll target your LinkedIn profile. You'll have a standard resume. You know how to succeed in interviews. You have everything planned out for you step by step to get to where you're meant to be. Send me a DM right now that just says career or tell me more. And I'm going to get you more information about it. I know this is going to fill in the next hour or two because I'm right now announcing it publicly that there are 2 spots left. So it is not going to take long. So if you are interested to learn more about my program, it is a really small group. It's called the Career Clarity Formula. I only take 4 to 5 women per group. So it can be a really personalized approach, and I can really personally guide you through that career clarity process and getting you into the career that is meant for you. So if that's what you want, send me a DM right now, say career or tell me more, or Career Clarity Formula, and I will share more with you, but you got to be quick because those 2 spots are not going to be available much longer. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I love the chance you're sharing. Please share these with the Nashville chapter of FOM in data. Oh my God, yes, totally. Send me a DM and tell me more of how we can work together on that. Very, very cool. Yes. I am still here. Any questions at all you have, you can send my way. I am here to answer your questions live because I want to see you succeed in your career. So if there's any questions open about networking, let me know in the next minute or two before we end this live. And if you want to learn more about working with me in my coaching program, just send me a DM, but do it now before that. Johan, you're the best. I know. I mean, honestly, my program it will really skyrocket your career. I mean, my clients have been getting amazing results. Like, we update their LinkedIn profile and they have 3 recruiters reaching out, and 2 weeks later they land a job within those for 3 recruiters reaching out to them. And I have people who go from, I've been struggling all my life because my career has been just an up and down and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And 4 weeks later, they're like, I finally know exactly what I want in my career. So seeing those results, this is why I do the work that I do. So really appreciate Johan with that amazing comment in here. Any other questions that you have on networking? Now is your chance. Julie says, clarity is tough for targeting men still figuring it out in the language around the role. I know. Clarity is a tough one. That's really the hardest part of the job search. And no one teaches us how to find that within ourselves. So if you are in that position of, where am I supposed to go? Like, I want to find a better job, but where do I find it? Send me a DM. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and telling you more about it and seeing how I can help you get there. And then I'm also super, super excited about seeing all of your comments on LinkedIn this week. I'm definitely gonna keep an eye open for it so I can support your comments. I will like your comments, comment on your comments so they get more visibility, because that's the beauty of LinkedIn. We want to support each other and grow together, and that's what I want for all of you. So thank you so much for being here today. It was an honor talking to all of you. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to be live again with my dear friend Anna. We'll send out invites to everyone who joined today. Please look out for that. And I hope everyone's going to have a great evening, and I'll see you on LinkedIn.